All right, looks like we are good. Brothers and sisters, I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors. Let's jump right into this. I am a little late on this. I actually had a family birthday dinner celebration for myself, my 39th birthday, I'll have you know. And this is what the Republicans gave me because right now it looks like we are in a bit of a pickle with the one big beautiful bill. I'm going to walk you through the entire thing right now. Make sure you guys send this out, you share this with everybody because this right here is the pivotal moment. I'm going to walk you through all of it. The pros, the cons, the next steps, everything. But as you guys get in here, make sure you're hitting that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on because we're about that freedom on this channel. And as you guys filter in here, good stuff. Audio and video is good stuff. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Orangabang. I appreciate you deeply. All right, guys, listen. As you're getting in here, this is really key and important. You guys have said audio and video is good. That is excellent. All right. Make sure you follow me at Braden LOA on this because, guys, this just became a bigger thing, okay? Well, hold on. Let me not get in front of myself. This has the potential to be a bigger thing if all votes as they have been cast hold, okay? I'm going to show you all of it. Raw news alerts. Again, this is just one of many. I'm not just putting my eggs in this basket. Republicans no longer have the votes needed to pass President Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. This comes after 4 Republicans voted no. Now, here's what you have to understand about what we're looking at. Let me get back over here so you can watch the live feed. You can see the count on the screen right now. Nay is 4. Now, what I've told you repeatedly in this whole process, as we've been going through this into the House, they can't lose more than 3. They're at 4. All right. The list that I've got for you here is, I've actually got it. Let me see if I can find the actual post because this is really important stuff. Rachel, thank you. Excuse me. I cannot find the actual look, what it looks like. Okay, I can't find the actual thing. But right now, you've got the people who are roughly saying no, I believe, don't hold me to this. I know for sure Brian Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania. He's a liberal with an R on him. That's all. That's a no-brainer. He's a no. Andrew Clyde is a no. Thomas Massey is a no. And I believe there is one more. I think Victoria Spartz is the other one. So where we're at currently, again, we are at 12 people have not voted yet. Democrats in complete unison said nay. Republicans have 204 yays and 4 nays. Those 4 nays, if they hold, this doesn't go, okay? There's a lot of ramifications for that. And I'm going to leave this up on screen while we're going through it. If it stays at 4, this individual vote fails. But this is not the big vote. Understand what this is. This is the vote for the rule acceptance to have the main vote. You know that old joke that people do in meetings in corporations where it's like, we're going to have a meeting to plan the meeting and then we're going to have the meeting? It's kind of like that, okay? They come in and they say, hey, we're going to have this rule and we're going to vote on this rule to allow us to vote on the actual thing. That's what we're dealing with right here. This is the rule to allow the vote to come through, okay? So what you're looking at is a resistance to the actual rule. Right now, it has failed unless someone changes their vote. Why is that important for you and I? Okay. The reason that is important for you and I is because we literally have the opportunity to open up the amendment process again. If this rule fails, the bill is open and available for amendments. If it does not fail, it is not. That's why this is so key. Again, I would like to illustrate, hold on, super chat real quick. Mike U, 199, happy birthday, Braden, and many more. Thank you. If you guys are just now tuning in, today is indeed my 39th birthday. I'm not 40 yet. So don't start counting those chickens. But here's where we're at, people. If Andrew Clyde continues to hold, which he's doing, I mean, the dude has secured legend status. I mean, like legitimately, he's secured legend status. So again, if he holds firm, which it looks like he is at this moment, I've got reports in the feed that I'm going to show you that basically say he's getting pressured literally right now on the floor with Speaker Johnson. So where we are at this moment is if this holds and these 10 remaining people also vote in the yay category, they are going to be 1 vote short. That means the amendment process, and I'm fairly certain it goes back to the Rules Committee, and then we have to do all that again. This is a bit of an issue with timing. If the timing stays, this is where it becomes a problem for July 4th because there's certain time stamps and certain time requirements that bring us to that point, okay? If you're just now tuning in, we are watching live in Congress right now. It is 10:16 Eastern Time, and this is the actual rules vote to get to the actual vote itself. Okay, this is like close all of it. Let's vote on it, the whole thing, or not. Send it back to the committees to see if we can get anything amended or changed to get more votes on board. Here's my initial gut reaction on this. I told you guys earlier on, and we're just going to have some interaction. Leave chats over here in the comments, and I can kind of, I'll kind of bounce over there as much as I can. Someone says a vote flipped, it looks like. Okay, so if that's the case, again, like I said, if it stays static, I still see 4. If one changed over, I'll let you know. I can only see 4 at this moment. South Florida Doug says, please tell everyone what it means if it doesn't pass. What it means is it goes back to the amendment process. So you are still open for amendments at that point. Now keep in mind, earlier today, they had 10 people who were a no on this. Now they're at 4, with 10 people remaining to vote. This is why this is really important for you guys to understand where we're at. If that number of nay goes from 4 to 3, because they can still change their votes, and those other 10 people can stay available and open as long as they want. They don't have to vote right this second. There's no time frame. The minimum amount of time for a vote is 5 minutes. The maximum is indeterminate or undetermined. They can go as long as they want. You and I could literally sit here and talk about this for 4 hours, and they could still not budge, buying the leadership time. Completely possible. But right now it shows 4. Super chat from Boris says, hold fast, St. Clyde. He's achieved sainthood. See, I told you guys, legend status. So what we're dealing with right now is a lot of people who are very unhappy. And Snallygaster over here in the chat actually said something really solid, and this completely lands. Don't care if it gets done by July 4th. Care if it is good for America or not. No short act and no HPA, no pass. A lot of people feel that way. It's an arbitrary deadline. Okay. Super chat. Thanks for reposting my SpongeBob meme. Happy birthday. Thank you, Devin. Thank you very much. I did that on my X profile at Braden LOA, by the way, guys. So effectively where we're at, I'm going to come back to this in 1 second. I've got the audio turned up on this, so I will, yeah, it's up. So we'll hear that if they start talking. Make sure my audio is good here. And that little low hum is what you're hearing is Congress, okay? Let me jump over here and see if we have any more updates. I know you guys like when I do these live updates like this. Let's take a gander at what's popping through. Greg Murphy of North Carolina voted yes on the rule. Okay, we're still at 4 nays. Again, when this is a live feed, so when this updates, I'll let you guys know if it does. Let's see, show 70 pass. Okay, Democrats are freaking out. Okay, whatever. It doesn't really help me. Here you go. This is important stuff. 11 Republicans have not voted. I've got actually 10, but this could be a few moments old. It's about 4 whole minutes. Breachin, Bresnan, Burchett, Burleson, Cloud, Harris, Green, Onder, Perry, Roy, and Vallado. Okay. Cloud he was never on the list of being questionable, but he's very pro 2A. Roy, he's been very vocal about this. Burchett is the guy from North Carolina, also very vocal about this. He's kind of been in the middle. That Green right there is not Marjorie Taylor Greene. That is another Green from Tennessee, and some other ones that are kind of just in the middle that aren't on that on that list. Okay, so that's handy information. Super chats. Sorry guys, I'm going to try to get to these and pay attention to this. I hope that was a phone. I hope that was a phone convo between Trump, Johnson, and Clyde. Couldn't tell you. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. Tiffany and Doug Kenley with a super chat for $20. Thank you very much, all of you guys. You guys are all amazing. And by the way, while we're going through this, I would like y'all's opinion in the chats. One of the things that we've been doing a lot during this process is live chats in the daytime, doing a longer live feed, kind of like a midday show that's live where you guys can interact. We can talk about all the pieces 2A related, blending together with other things that have the same outcomes and same inferences. If you guys like that, please let me know if you want me to continue that, because I think we're onto something, and I'd love to hear your thoughts over in the chat, because you guys are showing through your viewership times and your responses and your attendance that you like them. So I just want to confirm from you guys in the chat why we're doing this, and I'll look over there in a second. All right, so Okay, that's okay. So this is an update 29 minutes ago. This is important stuff. You guys can see audio, video, good, excellent. Breaking: Republicans lost a fourth vote. That was the key vote. Okay, the fourth one. Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania. Now, so let me just keep going. This math means the big beautiful bill fails this vote if votes hold, but the goal is to flip somebody. That's the whole point. That's exactly what they're going to try to do. They're going to leave those 10 people up, and they're going to just say, "Hey, y'all 10, don't vote yet. Go get a latte. Go chill. We can take as long as we want. We're going to keep on hammering on these 4 no's until we get them to be a yes." That's what they're going to try to do, and it's one that needs to flip. That's it. Joseph says, "Love the lives in the middle of the day." Yellow Boy says, "Yes, we love it." Do a poll. Rhett Coasty Chief. That's a great idea. I will do a poll. See, you guys are always so much smarter than me. All right, let's start a poll here. Easy. Yes or no? Okay, the poll is up. I'll leave it up while we do this. We're still on that same point. Okay, so super chats. This is good stuff that are coming in right now. I just saw a good one. Let me catch up. All right, we are caught up on those. Let me jump down here. What is the next step after this vote fails? Who do we call? Amazing question, Walrus Hunter. God, you guys are freaking on it. I love these chats. The people you would call at this point would be your individual reps, and that would be Speaker Johnson's office as well. Andrew Clyde would be a really good one to reinforce. Because what Andrew Clyde has effectively just done is he's made himself into a member of Congress who is pro 2A to being a stalwart of the 2A support. So he would be a very good person to lend support to. The Speaker's office would be good to make noise and let them feel it. And then the other Republicans who have kind of bounced on this one, the only one really of consequence would be Victoria Spartz, but she's extremely conservative. She actually comes from a background in a Soviet country, so she's not budging on the Soviet, like, kind of socialist, high spending stuff. And Brian Fitzpatrick is a complete waste of Republican space. I have no idea why he has an R on his name. He is literally a liberal. He's the only Republican in the existing Congress that we have right now that that voted for the assault weapons ban, HR 1808, under Nancy Pelosi 2 years ago. The only one. There was one other one from New York, and he got smoked. He is no longer in. Scott Commando with a super chat for $10 says, "Watch all of your videos." Thank you very much, Scott. Thank you very much to all of you guys. You guys are what makes this entire thing possible. Alex says, "The lives get me through my long drives during my work days to stay updated. Appreciate you." Thank you, Alex. You know, and guys, and that's actually just while I'm waiting on these votes to come through, and then I'll do a refresh on the X while we kind of feed through this. A lot of you guys left comments like that in all of my lives that I've been doing these longer forms in the middle of the day. A lot of you went into that talk radio, into the leave it on while I'm at work, listen while I'm at work kind of vibe, and that is awesome. And I appreciate that feedback, because that allows me to understand what you guys are doing, how you're consuming it, and allows us to cater to that. So I appreciate that. All right. Silenced 556 says, "Good name, good time. It will be a miracle if this goes." I'll be honest with you. It would not be a miracle. It would be politics, to be quite candid, because that's how this would work. Don't be allergic to winning. Take the W's. So this is actually really interesting. I'm going to leave this in the middle here. You've got a scenario now where we are dealing with pure politics. You don't want the Republican brand or the Trump brand to lose and take an L, and it's better to take a W that's not perfect and not clean and take an L than take an L. That's going to be the mindset here. Charlie Kirk, here's a list of the wins in the one big beautiful bill. Don't be allergic to winning, take the W's. That's what that means, okay? You have to understand when you're dealing with these broad national politics, which is what we watch all the time together, you have to see what the broader picture is and all the different ramifications and angles. So I got a few different creators. One, One is one is one of my buddies said the last vote sat for hours. Totally with you. I know it. I know it did. You're correct. And then one other chat was from Tim, and I've got to read that one real quick. Um, there were 10 no votes. Now there are just 4. These a-holes are going to do it. I cannot tell you if they're going to do it. Like, obviously, Tim is paying attention to this too. I don't know. I genuinely don't know if they're going to or they're not. I mean, right now, just so you guys know, if you're tuning in, what? There's a car? Oh, Tim. Here we go. This is what I was looking for right here. Keith Self and Victoria Sparks have voted no on the rule. Thomas Massey has signaled he will vote no too. This is going to be a very tight vote. So there you go. Victoria Sparks, Keith Self. That was the other one. And Keith Self is one of the guys who was posting immediately when the Senate parliamentarian was killing everything, was saying we're not voting for this. That's what we've been covering. Right? Like we've been really tight on all this for this reason, coming to this moment. But yeah, Self, Sparks, Fitzpatrick, and Clyde as of right now are a no. Super chat from Ian Johnson, who hasn't voted. We should call them and be firm. At this point, they're not in their offices. So, like, you're going to effectively...
School bells are ringing.
Holy cow.
It's time to get the...
Sorry, an ad just hit. Surprised the crap out of me. Whew. That scared me. Thanks, Walmart. Or whatever that is. Tell it. You're getting skipped. Just on principle. All right, back to the noise. Dang. That scared the crap out of me. All right, so now we're at 9. No, we're at 9. Haven't voted yet. Still at 4 nays, guys. The number that has to happen is that nay number has to go below 4. If it goes below 4, it passes and goes on to the general vote. Lots of different debate and all these different things, and you're going to see the big, broad hours and chest thumping of Democrats. How Republicans are going to kill every baby that's ever been born. You know those things. The standard. And if it goes at 4, you're looking at a whole lot of anger from the Republican side. You're going to see a whole lot of real cranky posts and tweets, and we'll cover all of them because this is really important for our Second Amendment fight, which is tucked tightly into the reconciliation bill at hand. All right. Super chat from Gerhard. Do you want it to pass as is? I'm 50-50. Maybe we got as much as we can get at this time. Love your content, man. Thank you, Gerhard. So what I'm really concerned about in this, I don't want the really, really, really bad things in this bill that I don't like. Like, for example, earlier on in this process, there was the selling of national land. I didn't want that. There was the no state laws and a prohibition for AI stuff. I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that the illegal portion of the immigrant population was going to have access to all of these benefits. I didn't like that either. So there's so many things in here that I'm not a fan of. And for then we get kind of watered down to a certain point on the Hearing Protection Act and the Short Act. I feel like there is room to improve upon the overall package. That's my own personal stance. I think that we have a chance to refine it. And in my own personal assessment, the big push here, which is making us accept less than perfect or less than good, would be the artificial deadline to make July 4th. Because there's nothing else that is doing that, right? There's nothing that is bringing forward in the process from a standpoint of content, of scheduling, of availability, of House in session, none of that. It's all because Trump wanted it on July 4th. That was my main thing, is that if we're rushing and we're making mistakes along the way and we can lead to bigger issues, then let's not rush. We don't have to have that July 4th deadline. We can still make the bill what we need it to be and still achieve what we're trying to achieve. That's the whole thing. On top of that, if this goes back to an amendment process and we are dealing with something where they amend it, it's got to go back to the Senate. That's plenty of time to deal with that parliamentarian issue that's coming up. That's a big part of this. All right. Okay, super chats are coming through pretty hard. That's Tim again. Is it 10 or 4? I just saw a post from a few minutes ago saying there are still 10 holdouts. So Tim, you're obviously watching. Tim, right now I'm looking at the actual AP vote, and it is up to date as it's. I mean, that's live. So as of the moment of the feed that I'm watching, that's what I've got. Maybe there is less, maybe there's not. But let me go back and update just to verify, because we are trying to get everything for everybody here, because we are about those freedoms. All right, whatever, Gavin. Okay. Mark Green just showed up and voted yes. He has announced he will retire after reconciliation passes. Good Lord. Read into that however you want. I got some more super chats I've got to address over here really quickly. Okay, the Gerhard, I just did that one. Super chat from Brian for $10. About to join the second press, trying to decide if I want to go Freedom Fighter or Patriot Command. Not sure where I'd sit in Patriot Command. So what he's referring to over here, and I'm going to leave the vote counts up so we can get full updates. Still at 9, not voted. What Brian is talking about is the community and the movement that we've built at secondpress.co. There's a link in the description box below if you guys want to check it out. But effectively, what he's referring to, the Patriot Command and the Freedom Fighter and the Liberty Supporter, those are all the tiers of support, and they come with different exclusive content and different advantages for each tier. Patriot Command is the top tier, and we sit down once a month, you and I, and we have a Zoom meeting in mass, and we basically walk through the strategies of what we're doing, how we're doing it, where the left is going, and how we're going to counter it. And you guys have a way to interact around that planning and strategy. And then Freedom Fighter is not that board meeting style of involvement. It's much more exclusive content, and that's that level. So I hope that helps, Brian. That's actually, just to be candid, the Patriot Command with the involvement and actually putting a voice to something and being involved in it is actually the highest tier. Is actually the highest accepted tier at the moment. A lot more people are jumping into that than the others. Make your own choice. I'm not saying one or the other. I'm just saying pick the one that's right for you. But we are going to grind, and we are going to change the culture right under their noses. All right. L. Haley Music with a $5 super chat. With the registry still in place, the Dems can make the stamp $10,000 next reconciliation bill when they eventually regain power. It's like a setup. It's not quite that simple. You're in a different scenario there. There's a different Congress. There's a different well, maybe not parliamentarian. There's a different appetite for doing these things. They've never touched it before. Okay, for the love of everything, AP, could you cut down on the ads? It's one of those I have to wait and see, honestly. And, I'll be there screaming about it until they do. So, MPugo, $5 super chat. If they want it to pass, HP and Short Acts are required. We will not accept the Short Changed Act. You. Very good. Very good. Very witty. All right. I'm going to go ahead and kill the audio on this for good now, because that's surprised me twice that I don't want to deal with. Another super chat for Tango. Thanks for all your hard work the last few weeks and days. Your coverage has opened many eyes on how politics work. To everyone saying they will sit out midterm voting, that will only put us in a worse position. Honestly, I mean, that is a actively true statement. I know there's a lot of anger, lots of anger at the Republicans over this. And the other side of that argument is they need to be taught a lesson, and the only way they get taught a lesson is to actually feel pain electorally. I see that too. Honestly, when the midterms come around, you're just going to see, honestly, that's the best I can tell you. Cool. Chats are good. Audio's good. Video's good. Feed is good. Everything is good. Got a couple more super chats. And guys, I'm trying to read all of the chats. It's just, there's a lot coming through. It's like 60 a minute. I'm also watching the vote. I'm also watching the production and the text. So, Jeremy Willis with the super chat. I got you, bro. Braden from J. Austin Carter. Did you see my tag to you about Clyde on the phone with Speaker Johnson? I got in here late. I didn't see a tag. I assume that you're talking about them on the phone together and trying to convince them to switch the vote, which is probably what's happening, which I'll allude on that in a second. Hold on. Let me get the super chat right below it, and then I'll absolutely hit it. John Wayne. Joined Second Press last night. It's great. Thank you for your help and info. I appreciate you. John. You guys who have already jumped in, as you guys can see, in the Second Press, in the portal that we've made, the movement that we're doing, there is litany of content that is just being created at a very fast pace. I'd love for you guys to get in there and take a part in that. But thank you, John, for joining up. All right. Let's see. Another super chat. Mitchell Martel. Let it keep failing. Do it right or not at all. I do agree with do it right or not at all. The self-imposed deadline isn't an acceptable reason to rush it. Also agree with that sentiment. Trump can wait as long as it takes, even if he doesn't like it. I don't think Trump would agree with that sentiment. But there's a few things that I want to hit on. And again, we're still sitting at that haven't voted, 4 nays, 207 yays. That hasn't changed. Of course, Democrats are in complete unison against it. Sometimes words. But that's actually a really good, interesting point. There's also a timing angle to this. And I'm just going to kind of answer these questions as we go while we're waiting. There's other bills that are in the works that they want to get passed that are part of their agenda. Okay, and what that's doing is they're trying to race before election season starts again. And I'm not telling you anything they wouldn't tell you. This is just politics, okay? You have the election and then about a year, so about 12 months to 16 months to get anything that you need to get done. After that, they're all in election mode. That's what they go into. It's every 18 months they go into election mode. So that's why you see such insane amounts of congressional pressure in that first 12 to 15 months, which is what you're seeing right here. So they have the budget bill, the reconciliation, the one big beautiful bill they're trying to pass right now, which so far has 4 nays. They have H.R. 38, which is National Concealed Carry Reciprocity, which FPC is driving really hard. That's on their docket. I'm just going to tell you all the things on the docket. I'm not going to tell you if it's going to happen. Then there's the other one, which is the census adjustment once they remove illegals from the rolls from their own verbiage. And then there's there's one more. I'll remember it in a second. But all of these things they want to get done amongst all the rapid changes they're doing and then going into election season. And if they lose the midterms in the House, again, you can see how close this is. It's pretty much going to be Trump impeachment palooza again and again and again. And that's pretty much where we're going to be at. Okay, we are at we're caught up. So that's a really important piece of this. That's part of the reason the arbitrary deadline. It's also just because he wants the deadline, to be candid. And something else I wanted to hit on in one of the super chats up here was a really good one. Speaker Johnson. Okay, here we go. So this is a really important piece to this, guys. Normally, when we have holdouts, it's because of one issue like budgeting, or it's one issue like the border, or it's an issue like illegal immigration, something along those lines, something very big and broad and nebulous that doesn't really have a definition and it's not fine-tuned. Andrew Clyde is now a swing vote on the one big beautiful bill, and he has introduced an amendment to get the Short Act and the HPA fully back in, and they just shut him down last night, and now they need his vote to get passed. Victoria Spartz, Brian Fitzpatrick, Thomas Massey, and Keith Self. If Andrew Clyde is the easiest one that they think that they're going to hit, then we are in a very good position to get something that we want. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Like literally one of those, fine, we'll give you what you want if you vote and you allow it to happen and we get the big trophy that we wanted, but we'll also give you this thing. That's how this is going to work. We're not usually in that position, which, to be candid, is a good position to be in. As you can see, they're just drumming around. The last vote did take forever. I got a couple more super chats. Sorry, guys, it's coming through, but the line, the chats are coming through so fast. I'm having to catch up with them. Thank you, Representative Clyde. You are awesome. He is doing a really good job. The Gun Club for $5 super chat. Thanks for your endless efforts in getting the word out. Much respect, sir. Thank you, The Gun Club. If you thought it was amazing now, wait until we get everything cranking across all of our consumption points. Substack, YouTube Lives, YouTube Shorts, YouTube Long Forms, merchandise, podcasting, all of it. We are going full bore. This is about the thing. Anne Ray Godley Cooper, $5 super chat, says mass non-compliance is the only way. Well, I don't necessarily agree, because right now you're not going to mass non-comply to a non-vote. Candidly, hasn't really happened yet. Just being really brutally honest. Josiah Richardson for a $2 super chat. The message has been retracted. Literally, that's what it's been retracted. I can't read it. But thank you very much, Josiah. Let me catch some of these. Let's go, Representative Clyde. Another super chat from Scott. Are there any more bills we can attach? At this point, it wouldn't actually be bills being attached. It would be amending the existing bill. A really good example would be the 437 amendments that were added overnight, and then the ones that they basically shut down. I showed you the footage where Maxwell Frost was being an absolute dweeb and extremely insulting. Also, Andrew Clyde backhanded the Democrat Scanlon, I believe is her name. That was amazing. It would be amendment process. It would not be bill introduction. So that's one thing. Stuart Paul says, who are the 4 Republicans that voted no? They need to be primaried. You might audience right now. The audience might not agree completely, but right now you're looking at Sparts, Keith Self, Andrew Clyde, and I think Thomas Massey, with Chip Roy still pending. These guys are literally they're just massaging what they can get out of it. That's what they're trying to do. St. Clyde loves the 2A. Super chat from Caleb. If the Republicans fail us, why should we care if they fail in the midterms? At this point, what are the realistic chances of getting HPA in short? All right, a very realistic and a really pragmatic question. We're going to hit it. First part, this one's a little harder. It's kind of the cutting off your nose to spite your face kind of thing. If the Republicans don't help us now, why do we help them in the midterms? Realistically, because when the Democrats have full power, they do a lot more damage than the Republicans fail us on the positive, candidly. Now, am I happy with it? No, I'm not happy with it. Am I happy with the Republicans? No, they can find a way to fail when they're walking to the bathroom. However, that's why we're going to change the culture around what we expect from our politicians and the rights that we expect them not to touch versus not being involved in the process. Like, there's a very important piece to this, and it's a fine line you got to walk. There's the line of complete apathy, where you give your opponents even more ammunition because you're trying to prove a point. Or there's the change the entire thing from the inside, not through the right Republican, really important to say that, but through the actual groundwork, which we're doing to change the culture. Basically make it impossible for them to be rhinos. That's the idea, right? And then, of course, make it impossible for anyone to like the Democrat gun controllers. At this point, what are the realistic chances of the HPA and the short? That all depends on this right here, what you are actively watching. If the nays stay at 4 votes, which is what we are seeing, and you get 216 yays, you miss by 1 vote, it goes back to the Rules Committee, and you have to go through the amendment process again. Democrats are going to put forward as many amendments as they can to try to bog down the whole process and the time frame to stall it until it can't get to where it wants to get to. That's the entire thing. Their whole thing has been to be obstructionist through very annoying amendments and count the rules and read the bills and take the yays and the nays, all these different things that they're doing. It's all about time burn. It's like they're in the 4th quarter and they have the ball and they're trying to take a knee. That's what they're trying to do, right? If that happens, you're dealing with even more time in the Rules Committee, coming back to do this exact same thing while people are still unhappy, and more time goes by, which means you could lose more people for the vote. This is the pivotal one, okay? If you're just now tuning in, first of all, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on, because this is a really important part of this. But the other thing is, if you're just not tuning in, guys, this isn't even the real vote. Okay, this is the meeting to vote on having a meeting. This is the rule to be accepted to vote for the actual bill. Okay, you still have a process to go down where Hakeem Jeffries is going to go up there and has an hour to say how incredible he is and how awful the Republicans are, and they're going to kill 800 million people. Society is going to end when this bill passes. You know, the normal. And then you have all the different hours of debate and a bunch of the burning of the time. And it's just like the first time. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. However, if you get nays like this, they all go home and they start the process over. And you're going to see fury flying from Trump's phone, fury coming from not Andrew Clyde, from Speaker Johnson. Speaker Thune's going to start sweating a little bit more because he screwed the pooch real hard. I mean, literally, that's what you're looking at while we were doing that. But let's do I think I saw a super chat come through. That was a really good one, Caleb. Thank you for that. Andrew Clyde is my hero. I wish my rep had his balls. I don't know what to do with that. I think metaphorically, that's what that speaking is. I sure hope it is. Sorry, I got a couple super chats that came through. YouTube is being a little slow right now. 3,700 of you in here right now. Thank you, guys. Super chat from Scott. I mean, later in the year, attach it to like a defense bill. Yeah, it's possible, but the problem is you get budgetary with a defense bill. That's where it gets kind of murky. And honestly, my own personal preference on these things, stop with the omnibus crap. Like, if I want to secure the border, here's one page. Let's talk about and vote on securing the border. Like, I want the HPA and the Short Act. Okay, let's do a vote on the HPA and the Short Act. But they don't like to do that because then they get put on the record, which they hate. Because then they can get in trouble. It's kind of like that whole thing with the executive bureaucracies where they just abdicate all of their power over there so they can't be held accountable, but the bureaucracies still do what they want, that kind of game. But anyway, Ronald E. Brown Jr. with a $20 super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That is their first live stream, and I will celebrate it. Thank you very much. All right, let's keep on going here. Deuce and Quarter responding to Scott said you'd have to get past the filibuster. Right, and that's, guys, if you're just now kind of touching your toe in the process, whether you're younger and you've never seen this before or whether you just don't typically pay attention to it, the whole problem, I'm going to hit that in a second, the whole problem with the reconciliation and the requirement of the reconciliation to get all these things into it was because they don't have the filibuster support. That's the whole point. The whole idea is they didn't have 60 votes to get around the filibuster, and they couldn't go down that road with the Senate with some of their key priorities. It's the exact same thing that we saw against the Biden administration, which we used brutally effectively, with the exception of the Senate Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, and all the rhinos that were involved in that are on the chopping block. Thank you, 2A community. But when you're dealing with the filibuster like this, you can't go through the same process you can reconciliation because the filibuster requires 60 votes to stop debate. They don't have 60. They have 53 in the Senate, the Republicans. And then the reconciliation takes 50 plus 1, which is why you saw J.D. Vance today come in and be the tiebreaker. That was the entire point. It passed reconciliation right now. It's 51 to 50. So that's the key important point. The senators were 50-50 split with 3 Republicans voting no. J.D. Vance comes in and he says, no, we're doing this. And now you see where we are right now with the House. The House is not happy. And I bet you, I'd be willing to bet you that if they did not rush this for the July 4th deadline, you would be in a different position. Personally, that's what I believe. Still sitting at nays for 4. And I want to jump over to a post that Mr. Guns and Gear, my buddy Mike, just put up. This is really a solid piece of analysis on it as well. I share this opinion. In my opinion, the longer this big, beautiful bill gets delayed, the better chance we have for the HPA Short Act to be reintroduced into it. There are a couple legit pro-2A reps who opposed the vote today, causing the delay. Yeah, that's the same analysis I've been kind of telling you. As you can see from Eric Dowdy right here, this is a good source. Totally stalled out. Just get it done already. This bill is Trump's agenda. 9 more Republicans plus 1 needed. Though they don't have that. So what he's talking about is the flip. Okay. Let me do an update real quick. Okay, this is actually a really good one. Let me read you this. This is a good source as well. Jake Sherman. Republicans need every single person who hasn't voted to vote yes, including Chip Roy, who said he will not be voting tonight. Plus, they need to flip one of the no's. That is a very good synopsis of where they are. Let me jump right back over here and show you. So what you're looking at, remember that thing that I said about 10 minutes ago where they can just stall this out and they can just keep this open as long as they want to hope that they flip these people? All right, they have to get to 217. That's the number. So right there where it says yay, that number has to have 10 more in the positive column. That they don't have that, it doesn't exist, okay? You've got 9 who haven't voted yet, one of those being Chip Roy, who said he is not voting on the rules package tonight. Okay, well, that takes away one of your possibilities. That puts you at a cap-out potential of 215. So if you have a cap-out potential of 215, that means you need to flip 2 nays to make this number actively count. Guys, this is a fluid situation. Do not hold me to predicting the future because I can never do that. but they would need to flip 2 nays, have every single non-voter vote, one of which has already said he's not going to vote. My personal expectation at this point is you're going to see this rule vote fail. Now, could anything happen? Absolutely. Could they magically flip those 4 nays to a yes? Maybe. But what you're dealing with right now is a potential failure. And I think they know it, to be quite candid, because as you can see, this is starting to circulate the X verse. And you guys, of course, can follow me at Braden LOA. We have been grinding. We are at 22,600 because of you guys. And thank you so much to each and every one of you for doing that, because we have a mission to accomplish. Whether rhinos get in the way or not is really their choice. We're going to win either way. Let's frickin' go. All right, update this. I don't even know what to do with that. All right, Eric Doherty again. Scott Jennings, this is 1 minute ago. This is what's going to happen, guys. Scott Jennings revealed President Trump is fully engaged right now with Congress, working the phones, and has been on the phone since 7 a.m. for the big, beautiful bill. President Trump's trying hard to get it done. Stop playing games. That's the point. You're going to see an ultimate pressure campaign because they cannot afford politically for this to happen. I'm going to be as candid as I can with you. They can't afford this on the Republican side. If I was looking at this and the Democrats had the majority like this and they were looking at this, I would be thinking, oh, we've got them. If it was the Democrats. That's candidly. With Nancy Pelosi up there with her little gavel and her little dentures, I'd be like, it looks like she's going to lose. But again, I don't know what's going to happen because you never know in that twisted little snake pit that you're looking at. All right, I got some super chats I've got to catch up with because you guys are awesome. Adam Seymour, $5 super chat. If they put the Clyde Amendment back in, those 4 nays would turn to yay, just saying. Wouldn't turn to yay. I honestly couldn't tell you if they would or not. I know that Andrew Clyde would. Brian Fitzpatrick absolutely wouldn't. Keith Self might. And Victoria Spartz would be enticed. There's a chance you could flip 3 of those. But again, there's so many different pieces to it. If you threw in the HPA full language and then you also cut down on one little thing that they don't like, you would see some action that I bet you'd be surprised with. But again, this is how this whole thing works. It is a cesspool. I'm gonna get to that one in a second. Here we go. Super chats. I'm catching up. Sorry guys, YouTube is kind of being a little slow. You guys are burning the chats up, and I love it. I think I got the next one. I'm just losing my place. Good Lord, every time I think I'm done. There we go. Now, here we're good. I'm going to put a heart there just so I can mark them. All right, this is a big one. Ryan Danion, $1.99. Thank you for your continued coverage. Thank you guys for tuning in. I mean, this has been a emotional roller coaster to the utmost degree over the last 2 months. I can tell you, this really cranked up on the phone calls behind the scenes about 2 months ago, and it's been full throttle ever since. Caleb Shipley with a $2 super chat. The most sense all of this has made so far. Thanks. Yeah, I can see that. It's pretty clear when it slows down and you look at them and you let the mud clear in the water, isn't it? Douglas Hammer, super chat. Without a tax, there is no enabling justification for registration. POTUS could strike registration with an executive order based on Miller compliance. That is completely possible. I don't know if that would happen, but it is completely possible. We're in the point now where they're leveraging executive orders. They're leveraging vote hits. I mean, you're seeing the Democrats are coming in and filing in. You can see the Republicans are kind of empty on the right. Like, you can see how this process is going. And the Democrats, quite honestly, they're like, if you were to liken this to a cartoon, like in the 1950s, where you have the little lamb like sitting there, like the Republicans on the right, and they're like sharpening their knives like the wolves. That's what the Democrats are doing because they're going to make political hay out of this. Super chat for Forerunners, $2. Who voted no and why? Just got here. All right. We've got Keith Self. We've got Victoria Spartz. We have Brian Fitzpatrick. And we have Andrew Clyde. They have not come on the record and say why they have voted no. I can guess with a couple of them. Self was pissed the way the Senate bastardized the whole bill. Victoria Spartz is very conservative, and she couches herself as a troublemaker. She said it on my channel when I've interviewed her here. And then Andrew Clyde, I assume that the HPA in the short has something to do with his actions. And then Brian Fitzpatrick, because he's just a liberal with an R on him. All right, Stephanie with a $10 super chat. What's annoying? They put out sleeper cell alerts when they F with our Second Amendment rights, but they defund the police. Our politicians are the ones that are crazy. No complaints from me on that one. VSO, I lost him in the chat because there's a lot of them, but he said, yes. That's exactly how he says it too. YASSSS, amend the bill. So he is voting for this thing to go back to the Rules Committee, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys would too. Sharon Netzley, I totally agree about omnibus bills, she says in a super chat. They should be a thing of the past. One issue, one bill. It's the only way to get an honest vote on issues. I respect that, and I expect that you guys would feel that same way. Throw that in the chat if you do agree or you do not. There you go. Curtis says, yes, amend the bill. That's hilarious. If you guys don't watch VSO Gun Channel, you should. He's one of my good buddies. Curtis is as real as it gets. He's a great guy. He has takes that are just simply awesome. Super chat from Dr. 3 BB2. My rep is Tony Gonzalez. Wish Brandon could have won. Hopefully next election we can kick him out with someone good. I've actually had conversations with Brandon a few times since the inauguration of Trump and all these things that have gone down so this year, and he's actually made the joke a few times with me. He's like, could you imagine how much ass that would suck being there right now? It's just, I mean, if you think about it objectively, that's true. Miles Ferris, $5 super chat. So if the nays win, does that mean the whole process has to start over? No, I'll tell you why in a second. And we can possibly get our stuff in the next try? Yes. All right. So this thing doesn't go through. I mean, remember, this vote that you're watching, if you're just now tuning in, first of all, 3,700 of you are here right now, and you've been here for a while. Thank you guys so much. What was I saying? Oh, yes. If you know what this vote is, this is the rule to allow the voting on the big bill. Okay? This has to get through the rule process. We're not even through that. This is the meeting to have the meeting. This is the, I'm going to vote and say if I can or I can't have the next vote. Okay? That's what you're dealing with here. If this fails, it goes back to the Rules Committee. That's not a true failure on the bill. That's a failure on the rules and the process. So when it goes back to the House, it can be amended yet again. It's now back in that workable position. That's the key point. And if Andrew Clyde holds out, Victoria Spartz holds out, Keith Self holds out, and Brian Fitzpatrick's gonna hold out because he's a liberal. I mean, like, I don't even know why he caucuses with the Republicans or runs as a Republican. He's a Democrat. It's gonna put it back in that process, and I hope that clears that up. But you're watching it in real time. Like, this is literally the live stream. All right, the chat is catching up. All right, everything is good over there. Let's do the update while we're waiting on this. As you can see, they are starting to put the pressure on through the public outlets. All right, so guys, this is actually really indicative, and I love doing these long X events. Remember how I told you there's going to be some attendance issues? Right here at the top. Nick Sorter, just in, this is from 2 minutes ago, several Republican members of the House who haven't voted are not even on site, per Speaker Johnson. One of them had to attend a family event. Some of them are on their way back now. My God, Congress is worthless. Not wrong. Not wrong at all. So the ones who haven't voted are just not physically there? Great. Excellent. Y'all are doing great work. All right. I don't care about Gavin Newsom because he's dumb. Yeah, election wizard, same kind of thing. Republicans don't have the votes. We covered that already. Here you go. This is actually really helpful. Guys, so whoever just asked that super chat, are they going to change their votes? This is his statement. This is Representative Keith Self. I'm going to read this. This is a Republican from Texas, 3rd District. I came to Washington to help rein in our national debt. There's a big issue right there. In negotiations with House leadership, commitments were made to ensure the One Big Beautiful Bill would include key provisions such as matching every $1 of tax cuts with $1 of spending cuts, terminating Biden's Green New Scam. That didn't get terminated. Matching $1 with tax and spending didn't get terminated. Prohibited taxpayer funding experimental gender transition procedures. I don't believe that got killed. The Senate broke the House framework. Again, see how this is all tying together? This is what I've been telling you was in the background the whole time the Senate fight was going on. and they stomped all over it. Now, House leadership wants to cram this broken bill down our throats by rushing it to the floor while in the middle of discussions, completely disregarding their promises. The only way of making this right is by leadership adhering to their commitments and restoring, at a minimum, these three important issues from the House version. While honoring one's commitment may be a rare commodity in Washington, each member of Congress is obligated to return home and explain their actions to the constituents they serve. More proof that you being upset does matter. Ultimately, this is an issue of morality. Aiding by our word is the only thing we have. Therefore, as the bill currently stands, I voted against the rule. We have an incredibly rare opportunity to extend President Trump's tax cuts, begin restoring fiscal sanity by reducing spending to pre-COVID numbers, and truly leave our country better than we found it. Does that sound like a guy who's going to change his vote? Nope. And he's one of the four that didn't. Brian Fitzpatrick is absolutely not going to change it. There's no way. Okay, that's full alert, full warning. This is just conjecture. Republicans are trying to locate Brian Fitzpatrick, who delivered a surprising no vote on the mega bill, likely to trying to flip him. I told a member I saw him bolt out of the chamber and leave the area. The member said, "Smart." I cannot confirm that. Fair warning. That is not something that I'm going to put my name on, but that would be funny if it were true. Oh, good God. Okay, here's another update from Jake Sherman. This is Speaker Johnson saying he will keep the rule vote, which is at 207 to 216, open as long as it takes to get to the majority. He is 10 short right now. Okay, that right there is the first sign of he's going to lose. That right there. I'm going to keep the vote open as long as I can. When you've already had reps say no, absolutely not. You're going to get them old. You're going to get them more tired and more cranky. You're going to get more time for the constituents to be involved. And you're also going to not have the right people in there to actually vote. Guys, that's not a good thing. If you are looking to make this thing pass right now with the rules, that would not be the big thing. That would not be the move. But anyway, hey, this is a party. He's going to apparently keep it open from now until forever. Let's jump back over here. Oh, look, still 4 nays. Apparently, rumor has it, Brian Fitzpatrick has scampered out of the building because he's scared, which wouldn't surprise me because the only Republican who voted for assault weapons bans, because I don't like him. All right, we got a couple super chats. I burned right by in my verbose explanation of what was going on. All right, let me catch up here. Sorry, guys. I know a bunch of you threw one out there. Give me a second. Ooh, that's a good one. I'm looking forward to that one. Man, you guys are chatting so much. It's flooding. It's like breaking the chat over here. There we go. Now we're back to where I was. All right. Let's take this party down to the next super chat because we have people to talk to. John Gaither for a $10 super chat. You are all so beautiful and patriotic. First time on one of these live chats. It's so awesome seeing all of your freedom-loving posts and supporting our God-given rights. That's right, John. America. That's right. Robert Bruno with a $5 super chat. If this bill fails, it's the Senate's fault. I completely agree with that sentiment. And we'll break that down further in a second. They should have overruled the parliamentary... wait, hold on. Let me break that down correctly. They should have overruled the parliamentarian. Vance could have done something and didn't. On our 2A HPA short, you're correct. He did not overrule her, and that was an option that could have happened. John Thune could have fired the parliamentarian. That didn't happen. She could have been ignored and overruled on a floor vote. That didn't happen. 100%. The failure here was the Senate. And I'm going to set up camp on this for 1 second because I'm going to do a full post-mortem as this whole thing wraps up, whenever it wraps up. The way it's going right now, it's going to take a hot minute. The House actually did the work, and they put in the manager's amendment for the HPA to remove suppressors and delist them. The House did a good job on that. The Senate got it, capitulated to the parliamentarian, bent over and took it, proverbially, and didn't do anything about it. And now it's back at the House where the House members are actually trying to do something. Andrew Clyde has put the amendments for the entire short and HPA back in. And as I showed you a second ago with Mike from Mr. Guns and Gear, the longer that this takes, the more likely it is it gets added back in, because Andrew Clyde is one of the holdouts and he's one of the amendment sponsors, and he is becoming a legend as time ticks. Anyway, that's kind of one of my stances. All right, and I saw a few more over here. Guys, thank you very much for the birthday wishes. I have about another 2 hours of being newly 39. Time is flying, and I swear these people you're watching on screen are making it go by slower. All right. Mitten says, late to the stream. Hello, all good freedom-loving people. Welcome, Mitten. Prepper003 with a $5 super chat. If this vote does fail, what do you think the chances for the bill to fail incompletely and never make it past come election season? Highly unlikely. Very highly unlikely. Here's the ramifications of what happens, and this is all political. Okay, the costs are going to be political. They are not going to be actually logistical. All right, this bill could be passed on July 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 20th. Doesn't matter. That's a random arbitrary date signed in by Trump. It's his thing. It's his bill. Fine. I don't care. But the fact is, that's an arbitrary date. Okay? As we go through this process, the damage is not going to be if you get it done on the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th. The damage is going to be to Trump's credibility, which is why he's working this so hard, because then Democrats can claim a victory, and then the impenetrable armor of Trump will be defeated. That's what they're hoping. That's what one side is trying to prevent, and that's what one side is hoping. So this is much more symbolic than it is actually about the vote, because if they push it past the 4th, then they can claim victory of the Democrats did it, the people spoke up, and we made it possible, and they couldn't even get their order, and they're disorganized. That's the angle they'll take. Now, does it have anything to do with the bill passing again? No. Does it neuter some of the political capital? Absolutely. Absolutely will. And that's a political ramification. But I do not believe that it will fail completely, because that is not something that is likely to happen with the budgetary tax cut stuff. That's probably not going to happen. All right, Ryan Pearson, $5 super chat. This entire failure of a vote is squarely on John Thune being a failure. No one else should be blamed. Pass the HPA and Short Act. Keep up the good work. I think that is the most pragmatic, absolute truth out there. It's on Thune. Abso-freaking-lutely. And again, that's going to come out a lot more in the postmortem as we go through this. But it's not about never voting again. It's not about getting out of the system. It's about realizing that all these moving pieces and parts came down to one man who failed his first leadership opportunity. And that would be John Thune. I mean, like, legitimately, the fault falls directly on his chest. Party Dog for a $5 super chat. No flipping, because without taking care of the 2A, we have nothing. So until then, hold the horses right there. It doesn't look like anyone's moving. And according to reporting, and I'll keep on updating as we go, the reps that haven't voted aren't even in the building. That's great. And some of the ones that said no have already left, which they don't have to stay there. It's true. Super chat for Forerunners. HPA and Short only matter. The rest is a poop emoji. That's right. I said it. I read it. All right, let's keep on going. Pork Chop Express with a $1.99. Thank you very much, Pork Chop. You have been here through the whole ordeal, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Trying to get some of these. Okay, Adam Seymour for a $5 super chat. My bad, I meant, yes, they would turn to, yeah, that's my bad. Massey, not so much, but the others, yes. I'm sorry for the confusion. No, you're fine, Adam. No big deal. Massey's absolutely not going to vote for it. Trump just dropped a primary challenge and $1 million ad spend against Thomas Massey from the Republican side in the primary. I mean, Massey is not going to vote for his signature bill. That's not going to happen. That's it. Period. Dot. End. All right. Let's continue. Guys, thank you for all the hearts I'm seeing fly in the chat. You guys are amazing. And 3,700 of you have been holding strong with me through this whole process of watching paint dry. Hopefully, I am keeping you entertained and answering your questions as they come through. All right, I got to let the chat catch up because you guys are literally doing like 60 to 100 chats a freaking minute. Go over here. I don't care about Chinese worship right now. Oh, Tim. I love Tim. Tim's one of my good buddies. Here's what he just said. Tim at Military Arms. This is the type of dishonest and or incomplete reporting by Fox that pisses me off. Representative Clyde is pushing back because of 2A issues, but they only talk about fiscal issues. No one in the admin or media are talking about the 2A stuff. It's all propaganda. Yeah, that's why we exist, Tim. And honestly, we have more reach than a lot of them. I mean, CNN like would love to have our numbers. We're at like, I think in the last 3 weeks, we're at like, I think 14 million impressions and views. I mean, like we're grinding. People are coming to the source where it's going to tell them the truth, not the political partisan manipulation. All right, let's get in here. Super chats. There we go. Jack Tatro, $5 super chat. What do you want to bet that Clyde is now holding out not only for the amendment, but a guarantee for JD to override? I bet you there's a very good chance. I think Andrew Clyde recognizes this is his power play and he's going to do it. That's what I think. He hasn't told me that, but based off of actions over the last 24 hours, I think it's a safe bet. Chris B, Gray Sword, some call him. $5 for a super chat. Don't pass the HPA and short bill. We in Oregon will no longer be able to purchase suppressors or SBRs due to a provision in the state law. That is only in the immediate, Chris B. They are actually working on language which would preempt that, and there's also going to be open challenges immediately if that happens. That would be a ground shift, and there would be understandable challenges, and new legislation would come in, or lawsuits would be quickly filed. That's part of the process of changing all of the underlying stuff. Just going to kind of do some update checks. All right, those are all notifications. You guys, of course, can follow me at Braden LOA. E. Schultz says, Representative Clyde, hold the line. Same for the vice president. Okay, the super chat just cleaned up. Let's go back over to here while I read those. Oh, look! Nothing changed. All right. Don't pass the HPA short. We covered that one. Good question from Aaron. People are mad at Vance for not overriding, but as I understand, if he did, there wouldn't be the 60 votes needed afterwards if he did that, correct? No. So J.D. Vance, what the vice president can do as the sitting president of the Senate, he can actually say, parliamentarian, I see your advice, I'm going to ignore it. It's allowed in, 50 population vote or don't vote. It would basically be a ignoring of the parliamentarian advice completely. Just so you know, that's actually the stance of how that would work. Yeah, a lot of guys are mentioning in here. Chris B. Gray Sword, the Oregon concern about suppressors and shorts. Representative Clyde's amendment addresses that. That's true. RO says, when will you add an RV tier for those of us that will move to in primary the districts you pick? I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see how they behave. All right, I'm going to give you an update on this poll up here. Oh man, YouTube's chat is having an aneurysm right now. You guys are breaking it. Good Lord, it's frozen. What was I about to say? Oh yeah, the RV thing. We'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and check X again. And by the way, guys, all the updates and all the comments that you would put in there, you can follow me at Braden LOA, and you would actually you'd be showing up right here, taking part in the show. That's one of the cool things about these lives. Here we go. I'm going to publish that poll about should I do the lives, and turns out I'm going to be doing some lives because 85% of you said yes and 14% said no on 2,200 votes. So it looks like I will be doing more lives. And guys, that's the big thing, is those lives are meant to blend the two-way stuff going on with the other politics in a conversation format where I can basically show you the overarching attacks against our freedoms and our rights. That's a big important piece to this. I think I had a super chat I just skipped by. YouTube, seriously, you guys are killing the chat. Vader Dad for $1.99 says, I can't read that one. He said happy birthday in a different way. I appreciate that, Vader Dad. I appreciate all the happy birthday wishes. You guys are awesome. Oh God, this right here, this stuff. I can't stand this stuff. The performative. I'm going to bring my little dog to the floor. Look, hey, staffer, film me while I'm walking. Come on, Nancy Grace, stop that. Good Lord. I don't need that one. Here we go. This is what's happening on the floor. Speaker Mike Johnson has just sat down with Andrew Clyde in the middle of the House chamber. They're going to put the screws to everybody who voted no. Good Lord, the pressure cooker in there right now. And I will. Oh wait, was that Thomas Massey? No, don't care about that. I will update chats in a second. It's literally frozen as of this moment because it is genuinely freaking out. Since we're killing time, how's the fishing in Florida? Fishing in Florida is amazing in the spring, amazing in the fall, okay in the summer. It's fun in the summer. It's much more fun in the fall. Fall's the best. Um, there we go. Chat's coming through. God, you guys are seriously breaking the chat. It's awesome when you do that. Crash Bandits. I can't. Oh no! Stop. Super chat. Here we go. Um, so the BBB passed the House 6 weeks ago. What took the Senate so long to get to a vote to begin with? The Senate is at fault for pissing away the clock and meeting Donald J. Trump's deadline. Yeah, I would agree. It's their fault completely. All right. Looks like we are getting to the point where the YouTube is melting. What's your opinion on those who vow to never vote Republican again if we get the tax stamp removed without the registration? I mean, I think that you're in a potential scenario where you're cutting your nose off to spite your face. But I understand the anger and frustration at this moment, 100%. Caleb Richney with a $10 super chat. Make sure when you're on other platforms that you use hashtags and retweets to give off the notifications. Use the Clyde Amendment Short Act HPA and use hashtags. It's good advice. Happy birthday, Braden! And seriously, you guys are breaking the chat right now. Um, it's crazy how much you guys are doing. Um, it's insane what you guys are doing to the chat. All the happy birthday wishes. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. Let me get over here to the amendment. Yeah, still, guys, 9. Okay, it's 11:18 Eastern time right now. We got 207 yays, 4 nays, 9 non-votes. We're in a position now where I feel pretty comfortable saying that they're going to be stalled for a hot minute. And as you can see right there on the right side of the screen, that is Andrew Clyde. Um, Neil Watson says we break the chat every night in Salty's chat. I can imagine that. You guys are hilarious. I'm gonna read out a few more super chats because holy crap, YouTube just caught up. I just got a ton of super chats. Hold on, I gotta take a work on this one. Jeez, good lord, YouTube. Any truck nuts still a thing? We need to get Clyde a big set with a 2A medallion on them. So thank you. Yeah, we do. Crispy Greysword, just worried. We are hanging on by our fingertips here in Oregon. We just got most of the 2A bills killed and curtailed, but they have the Senate Bill 243. It's very true. We're trying to throw as much love as we can for you. Tater Tot Outdoors. It's a great name. Please give update. Just joined and totally not listening at work while fixing some Raptors. That is America right there. Here's the bottom line. They don't have the votes for it. 4 people have already voted no. There are 9 people who have not voted yet. 207 who have voted. And they have to flip 2 votes because Chip Roy has already said he's not voting. They have to flip 2 more. And if they can't flip them, they can't flip them. And this is the rule that allows the vote for the actual bill. Right now, this is either going to happen at 3 a.m. or it's not going to happen today. So Johnson has already flexed and said we're not going home until we do it. And the other Republicans are like, well, eat crap sandwich. The 4 that have voted against it right now, you've got Keith Self, you have Victoria Spartz, you have Andrew Clyde, and you have Brian Fitzpatrick. The surprise wild card was Brian Fitzpatrick, which was crazy. And we have a super chat from Steve Rouse for $50. Thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate the support with all of you guys. Thank you very much. God, no wonder the chat is breaking. You guys are flooding it right now. I'm going to try my very best to read all of these. All right. The bill should be scrapped and brought up again in early September. A whole lot of northeastern U.S. should be in serious chaos by then. Yeah, that's not wrong. Cody Nace, $5 super chat. Happy birthday. Currently playing Farming Simulator on my PC while you're up on my phone. Listen, I'll take it how I can get it. I hope all of your digital crops are growing well while you are listening to this Freedom Cast. Airborne Professor, $5. How do I find out how Whitman voted? Well, the only people who haven't voted are those 9 people I showed you. That wasn't on the list, and there's only 4 nays, and I listed those out. So they either haven't voted, which I showed you the list, or they voted yes. Super chat from NL for $10. There are more people watching this for more than just our 2A. That's part of the issue. It's a multifaceted bill. There is no focus on just one aspect. We're being played. I don't think we're being played. I think that they're doing an omnibus push, and they're trying to jam all of it in as much as they can because they're just trying to get it through reconciliation. I think that's what you're seeing. I don't think it's more of a we're getting played. I think it's more of a what can we achieve with no filibuster breaking numbers. So. As you can see, it's going to be a whole lot of Democrats and Republicans talking amongst each other because they like the circle jerk, which, of course, by the way, is jerky arranged in a circle. Don't get twisted. Sean McCabe, $10. I'm stuck in the mud either way. At least it's a good laugh. I'm a walking, talking stereotype. Irish Catholic Democrat from Queens. That is a situation right there. At Langley Outdoors, out of the current no votes, who is the most likely to flip on us? I honestly don't know. I would have said Brian Fitzpatrick would be because he's the closest to the leftist districts. And he's also like a leftist with an R on his name. So you're talking about Brian Fitzpatrick, probably the most likely. After that, I honestly, between Keith Self, what's-her-face, Victoria Spartz, and Andrew Clyde, I don't know if either one of them are going to fold. Brian Fitzpatrick was the most likely. Hog Holsters for $10. I got to get back to your super chat because more came in. You guys are being amazing right now. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, guys. It's Thune's fault. It is Thune's fault. He should have fired the parliamentarian on day 1. Anything Harry Reid picked is rotten to the core. Excellent. You get a heart. That is a great statement and sentence. And it looks like the chat and the feed has been cleaned up. That's excellent. Gary Walter, $4.99. Failure of Republican. I don't know. Protect and expand our 2A rights and freedoms will cost them their midterms. I think it's completely possible. Absolutely. Jake Shannon with a $20 super chat. Why do people like Sean Hannity, who is a self-proclaimed proponent of the Second Amendment, never talk about this very issue on his radio show? Because Sean Hannity is part of the Republican establishment, just like Mark Levin is. I can agree with a lot of the policies that they espouse, but that doesn't mean that I don't see what they're doing on a routine basis. Their big thing is party over ideal. Like that's kind of the whole thing. It's Republicans versus Democrats for them, and whatever the Republican aligns to, that's where they're going to shoot to. I mean, like there's not a lot of deviation from the mainline thought to the content on those programs. They can do whatever they want, but I'm going to call balls and strikes as I see them. I'm not going to get a call from a politician to know what I'm going to talk about in the angle I'm talking about. I'm just not going to do that. And if that means I don't get to be on Fox News, then damn it, I don't get to be on Fox News. Dave Microcustoms, that makes more sense. Cerakote Laser Engraving, we listen to your lives and update dailies at the shop. Thank you. That is awesome. I'm like your own little version of 2A CNN. I appreciate it, only I don't suck and I'm not a communist. Cody Nace, $2. Well, it's hay season. Oh, talking about the imaginary farming simulator, I assume. All right. Is Curtis still here? I haven't seen him in a second, but honestly, the chat is, you guys are breaking the chat, so I don't know. Just tuning in, who are the holdouts? Keith Self, Victoria Spartz, Brian Fitzpatrick, Andrew Clyde. Those are the 4. Sean Hannity doesn't know anything about guns. He knows they go bang. Jeff Smallman says, so if Mr. Clyde holds out and forces them to add the amendment and get jerked around, and it goes to the Senate and gets jerked around last time, it actually goes to a conference vote, which is a little bit different. More to come on that if it's necessary. Super chat from Trinal Galaxy, $5. Republicans had an easy run to the midterms thanks to the Dems, but the Senate insisted on shitting the bed per usual. I mean, that is a candid take and factual. You are correct. Fox is reporting 208 yays. Oh, 208, yeah. Okay, maybe. If the number you want to watch for is the nays. The yays are another thing. The nays are what you're watching for. If it goes below 4, then they're going to have a chance to pass it. If it stays at 4, it's going back to the Rules Committee. Super chat. Thune has been doing something naughty with the parliamentarian. There's no way he's this stupid. Airborne Professor, equating you to CNN as fighting words. I was going more towards the playing of it in the background of a public area like an airport, but I get your take. JAWM with a super chat for $5 says, thank you for everything you're doing. Guys, thank you. It is my pleasure beyond measure. All right, I'm going to refresh this real quick and probably get an ad, but I don't care. I want to see if it's 208 or 207. Boom, there's the ad. Look at that. Yeah, so okay, that's actually really good. Get out of here with that. This is actually a really good reference. 208 yays, good call out. Whoever put that in the chat, and 4 nays. So the nays didn't switch. Just one of them no votes or hasn't voted yet went over. That's it. So it looks like the nays are going to hold firm. But I could wake up in the morning, it could be completely different. Honestly, and I will keep you updated as it happens. We'll probably do a 8 a.m. or an 8:30 update as we go into the middle of the day. We'll probably do another live because the things are flying so fast. Yeah, Jackie Starr says now 208, 216. Yep, I refreshed the feed. You guys are correct. The Royal We. Oh, good. We're back to an excellent connection on YouTube. Sweet. I don't have to be worried about breaking anything. My disappointment in J.D. Vance is immeasurable. I thought he was a Second Amendment bulldog. He just made an unforced error. Healthcare for illegals. He did make an unforced error. I don't necessarily think it's J.D. Vance. I genuinely think it's Republicans in general at the leadership of John Thune. I mean, candidly. Could J.D. Vance have come in and done something that hasn't happened in the last 50 years? Yes. But I would put a lot more pressure on the guy who made the mistake versus the guy who didn't clean it up. I don't know. I think they both share fault, but Thune has a bigger share of it. Ryan Pearson for a super chat, $5. At the end of the day, this should be an example of why the Republican Party is more open-minded and intelligent, actual debate and thinking. Yeah, that's very true. That is a very good point. Who's the 8? Let's see if I can actually get that for you guys. Okay. That don't worry about that one. I'm going to ignore that one. House Budget Chair Jody Arrington and Speaker Mike Johnson are in an animated conversation in the front. Oh, that's from 9 hours ago. Withdraw. Never mind. X does that to me sometimes. So the person who switched over, who voted from not voted to actual yes, was David Valdow, who has voted yes on the rule. It's now 218, 216 with 8 still outstanding. The number, it is as it goes right now, it's going to end up being 215 to 216. The Republicans lose the vote. That's what it's going to, if nothing changes, that's what's going to happen. And if Chip Roy holds to his word of not voting. All right, this is an interesting one. Let's hit this real quick. Just in, Speaker Mike Johnson says he's spoken to 3 of the no votes and trying to find the 4th. That's Brian Fitzpatrick. Everyone, he left already. It's fascinating how this works. Just going to test something really quickly. Yeah, it's working like that. Okay. All right, guys. So the chat is effectively getting you guys are breaking the chat again. Like I'm trying to get to your super chats and it's just melting it. I want to read them all. Super chat from Eugene Morris Stoner, $9.99 for just the super chat. Thank you very much. JD, for $2. I want the HOA short, but I also want the no tax. I want my cake and I want to eat it too. And the other ones, I'm just waiting on the chat to come in. But I'll be real with you guys. Right now, it's 11:30 Eastern time. There's not really anything that is going to change. I'm going to finish these super chats out. Ryan Pearson, $5. At the end of the day, this should be an example of why the Republican Party is more open. I already covered that one. Good. So we are actually caught up so far. All or nothing. Otherwise, we've wasted and achieved nothing. Yeah. So we are fully up. YouTube is broke. Yeah, I genuinely, guys, you guys are now about a minute and a half behind what I'm doing over here. Um, hold on. Hold the freaking phone. Something just happened. You guys need to know about this. Um, Someone just changed their vote from yay to nay. We are now at 5 nays. That just happened right now. Um, Guys, that's pretty much it. Someone just changed their vote from yay to nay. That is now 5 nays. That did not come from the non-voting. That came from yay. It is now 207 to 212. Someone just changed, and I'm going to find out who that was here in 1 second. Yeah, you guys are picking it up over here too. It just changed over. That's a big deal. Hold on, I'm going to find out who it is. That's a pretty significant. It was Thomas Massey. All right, there it is, right there, guys. Thomas Massey just changed his vote on the rule. He went from yes to no, and this is not on the big bill. This is on the actual rule. He literally just gave the death He literally just pounded the stake through the heart of the rule vote right now. That's a big one, guys. That's a big one right there. And if you guys put chats in, the chat is not updating. It literally says error right now because you guys are breaking it. But we just saw in real time it go from 208 with 4 nays to 207 with 5 nays. Thomas Massey changed his vote away from yes directly into no. That is significant. Again, all Democrats are unified in full resistance. That right there was a very significant thing that we caught. Right there. That's a pretty big deal. Yeah, you guys caught up the exact same. See, all my chats just caught up. Everything just caught up. That's crazy. All right, so yeah, we just had something went over. He was a yes. Now, dang old Matt just said I can't believe he was a yes. You have to understand what this vote was. This vote was literally a, do we want to talk about the real vote? It wasn't even a big vote, but that's the piece here. So guys, I'll be candid with you. YouTube is shutting down on me. It cannot keep up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the stream down now, and I'm going to well, hold on. Now it's evening out. Hold on. Now it's catching up again. It's kind of going back and forth. Someone just put a super chat in that said, if they're losing their mind this bad over SBR and suppressors, can you imagine how they're going to be full autos? Fact. All right. Bottom line on this, guys, is that just went from one yay into a nay, changed his vote in the opposite direction. That's probably going to kill the whole thing. What I'm going to do now is I'm just waiting. This feed, it's the encoder is really taking forever. I'll try to cool it down in here, but I can't guarantee that'll happen. That's crazy. I didn't expect that. Let's look at the fallout on X just while the feed is catching up. I'm so over this crap. I don't need Taylor Swift anything in my life. Don't care about any of that crap. Okay, guys, I think that's going to be the culmination, of the stream tonight, because genuinely it's lagging pretty bad. I can't even see the super chats anymore. I can't see any of the chats, and it's about a minute and a half behind from what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the stream down. I thank every single one of you for watching. The things and the engagement that we have on this is not to be squandered. We are going to change this culture, and it starts with you guys. And thank you so much for spending an hour and a half with me tonight watching this entire thing going crazy. And I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. I love each and every one of you, just the right amount to make you feel comfortable and homey. And I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later. YouTube needs to do some push-ups to get ready for our next live stream. See you then.